To the United stand, and it's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer facing an impossible mission at Manchester United. We'll be talking about that tonight. It is also the call-in, so we will be taking some of your calls, and we've got the latest Manchester United news, some very interesting developments around Thomas Meunier. Who was it who mentioned about 3 or 4 weeks ago that Thomas Meunier would be a very, very good signing if you've got £250 million to spend? I think it was me. And I think he'd be a good signing. But first of all, let's start off with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And what I actually think, you know what I'm starting to think about, for all the underperforming players, for all the inexperience of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I actually listened to some of the things he said today, and he said, I'm the man, I can get us back on top of the mountain, this, that and the other. And I think he has got the belief that he can do that. He's got the desire, he's got the passion, but it doesn't matter what he's got. It doesn't matter if he's the best manager in the world, elect, whether he understands what United's all about. If he's not given the tools to do it, it really is like asking a joiner to go and build a shed and not providing many wood or tools. It really is. He can't make it out of wine. So Manchester United have got to back him. And, I think look, it's not always about the money, but the most simplistic way to look at things is money. And if somebody said to me, in a monetary value, how far behind are Manchester United to Manchester City and Liverpool at the moment? You could do it against Tottenham, you could do it against Chelsea and Arsenal, because they're all probably slightly above us at the moment. But obviously the aspiration is where Liverpool and Man City are. How much money would it take for us to have the same sort of depth and talent in our team? And I look at Man City's defence, their goalkeeper, the depth of their midfield, their attackers, and I look at Liverpool's defence, I look at their depth in the midfield and their attackers, I look at our squad, and I would say, just to level up with Liverpool and Man City, you are, if you do the right sort of signings, probably 400 million, maybe 500 or 600, but 400 million, you might just be able to do it with the players that we've got and the players that we need to improve us. 400 million just to level up with Man City and Liverpool. And that's if they decide to twiddle their thumbs all summer and do nothing. They're not going to do that. They're going to improve. So it shows you the enormity of the job. When Ole Gunnar Solskjaer says, I'm the man to get Manchester United back on top, I think Mourinho quite rightly hinted at it last season. He said, if Man City only sign one player and we sign 4, that will close the gap a little bit, whether it will close it enough. And this is the thing. If we're not going to... If Man City and Liverpool buy better than us this summer, the gap will remain what it is and become more. And this is what I'm trying to say about the impossible mission. Passion. Ole even said himself in the press conference today. He said that if those players go out and put the effort in, the fans at the ground will love them. And I thought, well, they will, but this is the problem. We're living under this rock of effort again. Like, effort's going to get you Premier League trophies. It's not. As I said before, this is why Cardiff are getting relegated. And it shouldn't all be about money, but actually, what's going to get Manchester United back competing for titles? It's not going to be a make-believe youth setup that's going to come through like the class of 92. And let's not forget, the class of 92 were absolutely once-in-a-lifetime brilliant. They were really, really good. But they came into a team that had Schmeichel, Keane, Cantona, amongst others with it. Like, even if we had the equivalent of the class of 92, they're coming into a team of bottlers with a weak mentality. So it's going to have to be the old checkbook, I'm afraid. Now, people say, oh, well, you moan about Man City and the checkbook, but that's an oil checkbook. Our checkbook is a fan checkbook. It's our money. That's what we can do. But that's my thoughts on it. I mean, what we want to do tonight is take some of your calls about the state of Manchester United, the future of Manchester United, and what you believe. I love Manchester United. Absolutely love it. I love the club. I want it to do really, really well. But I'm not blind. I'm not blind to this. I'm not living in hope anymore. I'm not living in fantasy world anymore where Ollie comes out and says, I'm the man to do the job, this, that and the other, and I'll make us great again, but it's going to be a slow process. Bollocks, bollocks, bollocks. It's not going to be a slow process. I'll tell you what the process is going to start and end at. It's going to start and end with the board. Are they going to give him the money to do what he needs to do? And as I said, I don't think he'll get any more than 200 million. That's half of what he needs to try and just level up with Liverpool and Man City, like I say. But they're not going to sit on their arse anyway. Liverpool and Man City are probably going to spend 150 million. That means we need to spend just under 600 million just to level up with them. I think 400 million today would get you around about the same squads as them, but they're not going to spend nothing in the summer, so that's on top of that. Have we got owners that are going to do that? I don't think we are, and that's the enormity of the job. Well done, Ollie, you've got the job. Do it on a pittance, and that's basically what's coming out. So we need 2 to 3 years, says Sufyan. Yeah, we do need 2 to 3 years. I agree with that. We do need 2 to 3 years. But on top of that, we need proper investment over 2 to 3 years. You can't just give him 100 million every summer and think we're going to catch up with a team that's half a billion ahead of us in the relation to how they've built their squads. We're so far behind. It's going to take 2 or 3 years of major investment just to catch up. And I for one, will be surprised if we do that, because that's not the way this football club runs. This football club runs on making money for its owners, not on making money for its football team. So we'll see what happens with that. But I want to take some of your calls. I want to talk about how Manchester United are doing at the moment. Very, very interesting day in the world of Manchester United. I alluded to the fact that Thomas Meunier has been heavily linked to Manchester United. I did a video about 3 or 4 weeks ago where I said I can get you five players for £250 million. I've forgotten who those were. I know Lozano was one. I think Ndombele, Partey, and Koulibaly and Meunier. Meunier we can get for £20 million. We're heavily linked to him today by a lot of credible journalists. It's very interesting, is it, that I mentioned him 4 or 5 weeks ago. I know a lot of people will say, 28, Mark, you said we don't need 28-year-olds. I explained it at the time and I'll explain it again. There are certain 28-year-olds I wouldn't go near at Manchester United, but Thomas Meunier is very, very good. He's got very, very good assist, goals and defensive abilities. And on top of that, at 28 years of age, he's a grafter. He's over 6'2". He can play in numerous positions, and I believe that Diego Dalot can be our right back of the future. So what we don't need is Ashley Young. We need somebody to eliminate Ashley Young from the Manchester United football team. Thomas Meunier comes in over the next 3 or 4 years of his career and basically nurtures and shares that role with Dalot. I think it's a very, very good signing for £20 million. He's got 1 year left on his contract. Another thing I wanted to talk about was that Herrera, there might be some positive news around Herrera. Well, I say positive news because to me it's very positive. Hate to say it, but the way Liverpool did it was great. They bought right. Liverpool didn't spend like Man City, says Leo Man United. Liverpool sold well, Leo, and they bought well. They sold people like Coutinho for 140 million, and they bought very well as well. I thought what they did last summer was fantastic. The goalkeeper, the auxiliary players like Shaqiri, the previous January but getting Van Dijk in. They've built Keita, Fabinho. They built a squad on top of a team that was a good 11 but didn't have depth. They did it very, very well. So good contribution there. But yeah, Herrera, PSG apparently getting a bit frustrated because there's been no progress. They've offered him the contract. Herrera's interested in it, but he hasn't signed it yet. United still want him but aren't quite offering him what he wants. So look, I live in hope that Ander Herrera will stay at Manchester United. I know a lot of people seem to think that he wants to go, but I think what we've seen maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago when people were saying get rid of Herrera, we don't need Herrera, I think what we've seen in the last 2 or 3 weeks is that look, maybe there are better midfielders out there than Ander Herrera, but we're not blessed with a squad that's got the attitude of Ander Herrera. And whether he's going to be 30 next season or not, he actually gets what wearing the shirt's all about. He will always fight for the shirt. He's tenacious, he's aggressive, and he'd be very, very important to keep a character around like that in the team. And I hope that we do, but we'll have to wait and see. Partey would be a brilliant signing. Nikhil Pawar, I'd absolutely love him. Interestingly, 2 other things I want to talk about before we start taking some of your calls. Jesse Lingard tweeted out today, grabbing the badge. It was basically a picture of grabbing the badge, and the replies were ridiculous, like really got a lot of abuse. And I think, I don't condone that. I don't condone that at all. But in a way, hopefully, it resonates back to the players that do you underestimate fans? Do you really think that they are people out there with posters on the walls who will just forgive you of anything, and all you've got to do is put a picture out and they'll all be living up your arse again? I think it's misjudged. I think it is misjudged. I don't think United players should be doing anything socially at the moment about little pictures, grabbing badges and this, that and the other, because you ain't been doing anything for the badge for the last 3 months, and it's sad to say that. But hopefully, what I hope, I don't condone people giving people abuse on social media. I don't agree with that at all. But what I want to come from it is that for all this abuse, that the players see the aggression and the frustration from the fans and realise we ain't playing. A little dab dance release from the dressing room ain't going to do you any good at the moment. This is serious. People support Manchester United all their lives, whatever. But it matters to them, and the players need to step up to the plate. And I think it was misguided by Jesse, and I think he probably will become quite surprised by the vicious replies, which I don't agree with. But I hope it resonates through the squad, and they realise that this underperforming will not be accepted at this football club. Whether you're a local lad or not, it won't be accepted. Nobody's getting a free pass, and I think that's the tired repetition and nature of the fan base at the moment that nobody's getting away with it. Doesn't matter whether you're local, doesn't matter for whether you're from the youth, doesn't matter if you're full of effort. If you're full of effort, where's your talent? If you're not full of effort but you're talented, where's your effort? And I think everybody is now on the line with it, because nobody at the moment comes out of it with any praise. I think, like I said before, I think there's only probably 2 players this season, Luke Shaw and Lindelof. And there was an interesting thing I read in the paper from an unnamed Manchester United player saying that Marcus Rashford's attitude has changed massively over the last few weeks and months, whereby, he was quite a humble player, young player, and now he's believing his own hype and he's got a bit of an attitude. I don't actually believe that story. I think it's just your typical sort of stuff that we used to get around Pogba, disrupt him in the dressing room, up his own arse. Probably a load of nonsense, but it's interesting again how it's no longer the normal people that the press are going for. It's no longer the Pogbas and the Martials. It is actually the Rashfords and the Lingards who, unfairly, I think they've got away with it, really, for a long, long time. I think Martial gets a lot of stick that Lingard and Rashford don't, even though they've been performing as bad as him. But as I said, all bets are off now. Stories are coming out about Rashford, and that's quite surprising. I don't think it's true. I don't care if Marcus Rashford's got a bad attitude. It's what he does on the pitch that matters. And on the pitch, it's not being good enough. But it's interesting that it's open season on everybody at the moment. And I think that's a good thing. I don't think anybody should be hiding behind, I'm one of the English players, I'm one of the youth set-up players, I've been here 5 years. I don't think any of that matters at all. I think it's now everybody is under the spotlight, which I think can only be a positive thing. AL says, have you seen the article just published on L'Equipe? No, I haven't. If you want to tell us what it's all about, mate, because I'm live at the moment. Should we loan Bale? Would Madrid... Neil says an interesting thing about Gareth Bale before we start taking some of your calls. Gareth Bale may be available on loan. My response to that would be this. If Real Madrid are willing to let us have him on loan with no obligation to buy him, and they're going to pay all of his wages, and Gareth Bale can stay fit for at least 80% of the season, I would still say no. I just think it's a big fat no from Gareth Bale for me. What does he give us? He's a bit like Alexis Sanchez. If Alexis Sanchez plays well tomorrow night, what does he give us? He's 31 this year, and he's lost a yard of pace. I mean, I'm sure he's capable of having the odd good game because he used to be a very, very good player. But what's the future with Alexis Sanchez? And it would be the same with Gareth Bale. What if we took him on loan for 6 months and he's brilliant, and then Woodward goes, there's 100 million. Well, I'm nearly 30 now and I'm injured. There's no future in it. There's no point in getting Gareth Bale, whether it's on loan or not. There's just no point. There's no future in it, and that's what we're talking about. What did we start off the video? We need 2 or 3 years. Well, Alexis Sanchez is 34 in 3 years. Gareth Bale's 32. They're not part of the journey. There's no point. There is absolutely no point going for those sort of players. And actually, it's the same mistake we've made for the last 6 years with Falcao's and Zlatan's and Di Maria's and people like that. It's like the wrong sort of signing. Taking somebody from a big club they don't want anymore, a player that's got an injury history, a player that's coming towards the end of their career. It's not what we should have done. I mean, Zlatan was nice for a year, but we shouldn't have got him. We never should have got Zlatan. It was a waste of time because he was only ever going to give us a year. And he didn't even manage to do that, did he? So we need to be looking more long term. What's the plan for Alexis, says Gustavo Cortez? I mean, I just hope that the plan is to remove him from the club. I really do. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. No old players, sign young ones, says Ed M. We should look at Leipzig only signing under 23, says Adrian Jones. I mean, you've got to have a mix. I agree with that. Andreas Baller says Zlatan wasn't a mistake. Well, look, some people live up Zlatan's arse. Like Xavier Daniels says Zlatan was good for us. Look, that's your opinion. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. But what I am going to tell you is I don't think Zlatan was a good signing. I don't. You lot can think it was. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong, but I don't think it was a good signing. I think instead of signing Zlatan, if we'd bought like a Cardi or someone like that, we'd still have that player. That's what I'm saying. Zlatan was good for a year, but he didn't finish the season with his knee injury. And actually, you know what? How many chances did Zlatan miss? How many games did we draw because he missed? He was a great character, and I think he's one of the most iconic footballers of the last 2 decades, but what was the point of that? It was like a Harlem Globetrotter tour for a year. There was no future in it, and I believe that's a mistake. I don't, I don't think it was a good signing. I really don't. I think he could have been more prolific, and he was only here a year, and we could have spent a lot. We spent a lot of money on Zlatan as well. That could have been spent on a younger striker that would still be here, still developing, still banging the goals in the back of the net. But, you know, each to their own. Each to their own. Zlatan won his trophies, apparently, says Jev. Yeah, I just love winning the League Cup and the Europa League. It's what supporting Manchester United's always been about, winning B-Tech trophies. No, I don't. Look, I liked him, but I don't think it was a great signing. Ibra never failed, Mark. It was just the injury, says George Ramos. Oh, you're pulling me into an argument I don't want to get into here. Go back to the season he was here. How many sitters did he miss? How many goals? How many games did he cost us points? Like, he was good, but he ain't this legend. I just don't get it. People want to give Zlatan legendary status because you're shit scared of him. Like, seriously, he had a good season. But Lukaku had a good season last year. You know, do you still want Lukaku? You know, Lukaku scored nearly the same amount of goals as what Zlatan did. So it swings and roundabouts. Zlatan wasn't free. He cost a bloody bomb every week, Leo. He was very, very expensive. And ultimately, what do you think about the reports that the players argued with themselves after the Everton game, says Osman Rani. I hope they did. I really hope he did. I really hope that they did, because it would show some passion, wouldn't it? That's what it's all about. We need a bit of that. Anyway, I've got to take some of your calls. Link in the video description to join the Discord server. I'm going in there now, and what I literally will do is start pulling some callers into the live chat so that they can have their say. Let's see if we can get our first caller on. Chris, can you hear me? Hello, Chris, can you hear me? I think you're muted and you've got your mic off, so you won't be able to hear me. That's a shame. Let's see if we can get someone else on. We haven't done this for a while, so it's let's see if we can get this person on. It just gets. I do like it, but it's a little bit annoying. I've got to be honest. Let's try this person. Hello, you're live on the United Stand. Can you hear me? Paul, you're in there. Do you want to just come on? Because I think people, yet again, do not understand the process of Discord. If you're in the call-in queue, unmute yourself and be ready, because I've pulled 3 people in and nobody's taken the opportunity. So you moan about having your say. You moan about us doing call-ins. We do a call-in. 3 people get pulled in and none of them are bloody ready. Paul, can you hear me? Hi, mate. You all right?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. How you doing?
Good, good. The floor's yours, Paul. Tell us how you're feeling about Manchester United, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Is it mission impossible, and anything else you want to talk about?
No, it's not mission impossible as long as he gets the backing. I mean, that's the obvious issue. If the Glazers continue to act the way they have been for the last 10 years, then it's going to be a very, very difficult job for Ole. If they pull their finger out and start getting their shit together and get a decent DOF in there that isn't an internal promotion, because that'll just be cosmetic, then I think he can do a job. But as I say, and as lots of people are saying, things have got to start to change at the top before they start cascading down. Otherwise, it's going to be the same shit.
It's interesting with the summer, because I was saying at the start of the video, money is what people understand, and if somebody said to me that Liverpool and Man City are spending no money this summer, how much would it take to get level with them? I said minimum 400 million to try and get a squad the same as them. So that's 400 million. That's just if Liverpool and Man City sit still. So obviously we need that investment from the club. I don't think we'll get that this summer, so that's why it's going to take years and years. But also you add into that, I mean, where do you stand on De Gea and Pogba? De Gea's going into his last year. If he doesn't sign a contract, we could lose him for free. And Pogba, what's your stance on Pogba? I mean, would you sell him? How do you get the best out of him? Have we got the money to get the best out of him? What's your thoughts on that? Because it's all right saying, oh, let's spend this money, but if one of those two or both go this summer, that's massive to try and replace that as well as improve the squad.
It's such a difficult one, because there are only 2 world-class players. They are. Dave's given us everything, absolutely everything. Dave, for me, he's got a complete get-out-of-jail-free card. He can do what he wants. If he wants to go, how can we stop him? I mean, and if we don't give him 400 grand a week, then, you know, I mean, what's that going to do to our wage structure? There's a real, I'm pulled both ways in it. I'd love to keep Dave, I really would. And I'll be on the minority probably saying that if he wants to go, I think if we're going to do a rebuild, we have to do it right. We've got to start from scratch. Everybody's saying it's at least 3 years, 4 years. Not everybody. I'm saying, and I've heard people say, before we can even start challenging, and it's true. So in 3 or 4 years, are Pogba and Dave going to be there? I mean, I think even if they sign contracts, they're going to go in 2 or 3 years, and we're continually chasing our own tails. I mean, if you look at Pep, when he went into Manchester City, he gutted it. Within 18 months, he gutted the place. He got rid of class. He got rid of good players that are too old. He got rid of players that knew they weren't going to fit his system. And we go on about money a lot. It's not money; it's how we spend it. If we slot in Sancho and we slot in Ndombele, and then we get a Cardi up front, it's like sticking alloys on a shopping trolley because we've still got Jones and Smalling and Young that are never going to be able to build from the back. That anybody is terrified of giving them the ball. Like, they can't distribute the ball. It's a domino effect. I've put things out on Twitter recently that we need to completely replace the back four, and that could even be Dave. And I'll give you the reason why. That my theory is, if Dave never leaves his line and his distribution is poor, the people he's got to distribute to are our back line, which is Jones and Smalling. Lindelof can play football, but neither of them can play football. When those two are free, Dave looks at him, he doesn't even pass to him, and Smalling's pointing to someone else, so he kicks it forward. A long ball to attackers that can't hold the ball up or take the ball. And we play a very high line with our attackers, a very deep line with our defenders. We've got 3 midfielders running about trying to cover so much space that they can't retain the ball. And this has been going on for far too long, because if you look at one consistent thing over the amount of time we've had Jose Mourinho and we've had Ole Gunnar Solskjaer or anybody, we can't keep the ball. We cannot keep the ball. We need ball playing. Everybody needs to be able to play football. Our defence can't play football. That's 1/3 of our entire team that can't play football. They can't keep the ball. It destroys our entire attack. Our midfielder got no confidence in the defence. Dave's got no confidence in the defence. He lobs it forward. The forwards, the midfielder got no confidence that they're going to keep it. Who trusts who in that team?
It's very interesting, really, because
no one trusts anybody to pass to each other, because
you look at United.
It's frustrating.
You look at United, how we set up against Everton, and I agree. And I'm no big fan of Fellaini, but under Mourinho, he would play players at centre back who can't distribute the ball, because he knew that De Gea could hit the halfway line and Fellaini could hold it up. You look at United, you play Jones and Smalling, like you quite rightly say, who can't pass out from the back. If De Gea hits it long, who's going to hold the ball up? Fred, Lingard, Martial, Rashford. That we haven't got anybody, and suddenly the game. And the reality is, what disappoints me the most is that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a very, very inexperienced manager, but he has got a style of play. It's 4-3-3. It's centre back splitting and taking the ball off the goalkeeper. It's moving the ball across the ground very quickly, and it's the high press. And we seem to have lost our way with that in the last 2 months. And I agree with you. I think it isn't just about how much we spend. It's about being ruthless. I'm fed up of the word effort being thrown around, and because effort to me automatically means Ashley Young, Chris Smalling, Phil Jones, Nemanja Matic, Scott McTominay on the bench on the team sheet, and I think effort's not enough.
No, I know it isn't. Really isn't. I'm guilty of it. I mean, I got sucked into this team when we went 8 unbeaten. However many unbeaten, we were winning away from home, and we had the bounce from the manager. And I thought, I did think, I started to believe that these players were good enough, and a lot of them are. But Ollie will want to implement his system, and he will want to introduce youth, and he will want to do everything that we want. But at the moment, who's going to be able to get anything together with these players that we've got? A mishmash of 4 different managers. They've been there some have been there for so long. I used to talk about it with Arsenal. You get players that stay there for 10 years because they're comfortable. Your Jack Wilshere's, your Theo Walcott's, they were never really asked to push further than they had to do because they were comfortable. They're going to get another contract. They're stalwarts, they're well thought of. That worries me about Ollie a little bit, and the boys' club we got for Manchester United, because they all know each other, all patting each other on the back and all saying, well, we'll keep him because he's gonna give 110% every time. That's a big worry for me. But Ollie needs to be able to give him the right tools to do the job. He's going to have a way he wants to play. He can't do it with the players he's got at the moment. That back line, the whole back line needs to be ripped out. If we keep Jones, Smalling and Young next year, they are going to play. If we get one centre-back and he gets injured, we're back to square one. Nothing else forward will work. If we get one centre midfielder and he gets injured, well, actually saying that, I think our midfield would look a lot better with a trustworthy football playing defence and one player up front. Like Jimenez in Wolves, everything sticks to, so you can play off. I think our midfield would look a lot better, and at the moment our midfield can play football. But they're so stretched out because no one else can. They can't do anything. You see Pogba, he gets frustrated. Why does he get frustrated? Because every time he passes the ball, it's 5 seconds and it's gone. And he has to run around looking for it to be able to do something with it. I mean, ball retention and footballers on the pitch. Smalling's a great defender. That's all you can say about him. He's from the year 2000. He's from the 1990s. If you look at all the cultured defenders you get nowadays, they stay on their feet. I think Van Dijk's given 9 fouls away this season. 9. How many do you reckon Smalling and Jones are giving away? I mean,
it speaks volumes when Southgate doesn't want him.
Yeah, blocking. They're putting their bodies on the line. They're flying in. They're heading away really effectively. They should be able to do that and knock a 40-yard ball into our forwards, and retain the ball, keep it, be confident that they can knock it past and their first line of defence of the opposition and get it into the channels. We don't play channels because we can't pass forward. And that's my issue with Herrera as well. He doesn't get it into the channels. He retains the ball really well. I like his effectiveness in big games, the top 6 games. It's games where we're going to sit back and we need to nick the ball. But when it comes to breaking down opposition, Herrera's not good at that. He's a great squad player. But if he leaves, I'm not that bothered because we can get better. We can just get better in a lot of positions. But after the squad we have got will be a lot more effective and look a lot better if we just build a defence that we can trust in terms of keeping the ball and retaining it. That's my opinion anyway, but I'm yapping on. And the youth, once that happens and we get more confidence and we get a better team together and a better structure and playing the way we want to, we can introduce youth. Introducing youth at the moment, we're just putting someone in there to run about and hopefully do a wonder goal. They're not really going to settle into a team because we haven't got a structure. It's going to be very difficult for them to be effective, look good. We might lose confidence in them. And then where are we at? We've just thrown lamb to the slaughter, really. Greenwood's an amazing talent. He's got to be put in the right structure.
Thanks for calling in, Paul. Really good points as usual, mate.
Cheers, mate. See you later.
Cheers, pal. I think very good points. Yeah, I don't think now is the time for youth, and I think that case in point, Chris Smalling. I think he's the one of the best backup centre backs in the league, and a backup centre back is when you've got injuries and suspensions. Gareth Southgate won't take him in the England squad because he can't pass out from the back. So why Manchester United, one of the best clubs in the world, using a centre back like that as a first choice? Nick P says that Pogba said in a newspaper after the Everton game that we let the manager speak, the staff speak, and they spoke the truth. So who's running the dressing room, Ollie or the players? Well, there are continually rumours about Paul Pogba running the dressing room, which if it's true, it needs to be stamped out. Praveen Thomas says, is this rebuilding process apart from buying young players? We need a leader. Pogba, a World Cup winner, should have played that role and galvanised the team, but he is not. We ought to buy one great leader. I think Pogba would work better with players who are leaders around him, to be honest with you. That's what I personally think on that. I don't know about you lot. I want to take another call. Please do drop a like on the video and subscribe if you are new. Let's see if we can get another caller in. Remember, you can join the Discord through the link in the video description, and we will try and pull people into the call. I've not done this for a while either, so it's not easy to do. Let's try this person. Hello, can you hear me? You're live on the United Stand.
Hello, I can hear you. Yes.
How you doing, Kian? You all right?
Yeah, I'm grand. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really good, thanks. What was it you wanted to talk about, pal? How are you feeling about United at the moment in the future?
Not feeling too great. I was going to ask you, do you think Solskjaer over the next 3 years can get United back to the old ways, like the Ferguson days?
Well, I mean, I just think it just comes down to the board, really. I think if you were the manager or I was the manager, we can all have ideas about how we're going to do it. But if we're not given the tools to do it, then he will fail.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. What do you think? It's your call. I mean, how do you think it's going to go?
I think that, like, a lot of people say he doesn't have the experience, but you never know. Like, he knows a lot about the club. He's been there since basically nearly the start of Alex Ferguson's days as well. So, you never know.
How much? I mean, look. I suppose what many people would say is the board. Like, I mean, I don't have the figures to hand as to how much we've spent every summer, but I know last summer it was about 70 million. Sometimes it's 150. Sometimes it's 200. Do you have concerns about this board and whether they will give him money? Because there's so much riding on this summer.
I think Ed Woodward will only give him about 250 million at the most. I don't see him giving him big money.
Do you? And really, I asked this of Paul as well. Just on the current set of players, obviously Sunday was a disgrace. Lots of people have different opinions on Martial, Rashford, Lingard, Pogba, Lukaku, etc. Would you clear house, or do you think that these players can be improved with more time, with better signings, or do you think that there is inherently a problem in that squad?
I think there is a problem at the moment that's making everything not normal, but I can see them getting back to the way they actually play, and they're a good set of players, like they're good lads, but I think we still do need to make new signings. Like Young needs to get out. Smalling can stay, but he's not a first team solution. And Pogba, I don't know. I can see him getting better if there's more people around him that's good. So,
what do you think about Pogba and De Gea? Because Paul was on about it as well. We all sort of think that we're 2 or 3 years away from getting back to being challenging again. I think De Gea, that would be 9 years of being part of a rebuild because it's 6 years since we won a title. And for Pogba, He'll be nearly 30 then. I mean, do you see De Gea and Pogba wanting to, sort of commit the best years of their career to another United build, or do you think they could be looking to move on this summer?
I could see them moving on, but at the same time I could see them staying. I don't think, with the way stuff is going right now, I can't see them having much faith in staying. Like, they'd want to move on and win trophies before they're too old. Like, they're in their prime right now. De Gea is the best goalkeeper in the world, in my opinion. Like, there's nothing you can say about it. He's just going through a rough patch.
Thanks for calling in, Kian. Really good points. We're going to try and whiz through some, but I'm glad that we got somebody on who wasn't a regular. So cheers for calling in, pal.
Thanks very much, Mark.
Cheers, mate. I'm going to grab another call quite quickly and see if we can get somebody else on. Johnny, can you hear me? No, he's bottled it. He got pulled in and he legged it out. Let's see if we can get someone else on. Why is that not working? See, this is what annoys me about this. If the list is too long, then I can't pull them up, and it really annoys me. I can't. There's too many people in the call chats. This is for the moderators. That if they're down towards the bottom end of the call queue, I can't pull them into the live show. So what I'm going to have to do is move the live show. Oh, this is a bloody nightmare. I haven't done Discord for so long, and it's just shite, to be honest with you. I can't pull people into the show because the list is too bloody long. Let's try again. Michael, can you hear me?
Really annoys me.
Hello?
There's too many people.
Hello? I can hear myself on delay because he's listening to me and not the show. Hello?
Hello?
Hello, you're live on United Stand, pal. How you doing? You alright?
Yeah, I'm very good.
What do you want to talk about, mate?
I just first of all, I just wanted to say that I'm still thankful for that Oli came into the club. The run we had is amazing, but we still have so much problems.
Hello, you're live on United Stand, pal. How you doing? Yeah, I'm not doing that. It's just too much repeat. I think we need to go back to the drawing board with Discord, don't we? There's a few issues there, and I put my hands up and apologise for that. We did get a couple of calls on. Vicky189 says, Mark, I think we want as fans, and what the Glazers board want from this commercial pot is poles apart. Sooner we realise, less the disappointment. I think with Discord, what people need to do is go and get through the sign up, the invite, and then get in the call queues and see how it works. Like, there's a certain way of talking and interacting with people, but when I pull you into the live queue, you can't be just watching. You've got to be listening, because there's a 30-second delay behind, and you're listening to the show and you're not listening to whether I pull you in. So that needs to be resolved as well. And also, I think from a United standpoint of view, we need to sort out those queues, because they're very hard to pull people in. I can see people who want to come in, but I can't pull them in because the queue's too big. So apologies for that. We haven't done it for a while, but we will get it back up and running. The main thing is that it's up and running for the summer, really. Anyway. Would you prefer Wan-Bissaka or Meunier, says Raphael Sergids. It's a good question. I'm going to take some questions from the live comments, actually. It's a good question, mate, because I think Wan-Bissaka's got the potential to be a very, very, very good right-back. But for me, it's not Wan-Bissaka or Meunier, it's Wan-Bissaka or Dalot. We've got a young right-back that we spent £20 million on a year ago. If you sign Wan-Bissaka, what's the future for Dalot? And I personally think that we've got Dalot. I think Dalot's got the potential. I think he's still very rusty, but he's got the potential. He's got the height, he's got the physicality, he's got the ball delivery, he's got the energy. I think he can be our right back in a couple of years' time, which is why I would go with Meunier, because he can be our right back for the next couple of years, and they can share that role and nurture Dalot. If you bring Wan-Bissaka in, he needs nurturing, but so does Dalot. It doesn't work. So it'd be interesting to see. I mean, somebody just said there, loan Jesse Lingard, which is something that I think might surprise a lot of people, but I think we're going to see a reaction tomorrow night from Manchester United. I did the FIFA predicts on That's Football at lunchtime, and the result didn't surprise me. I think we'll see a reaction from Manchester United tomorrow night. I really do. And I think that they'll, it will annoy me because it'll be a one-off, and there won't be any consistency, and we'll probably drop points against Huddersfield or Chelsea, and we won't get top four, and we'll hand Liverpool the league. But we've got to look after ourselves, and tomorrow night I expect there to be a reaction from United. And as the previous caller Kean was saying, and other people have said, the point is, Manchester United, I think we've sort of forgotten the first 3 months of Ollie, and we're just thinking we've gone from Mourinho shit to this current shit. And actually there was this period of time in between it, around January, February especially, where I was saying that Herrera, Matic and Pogba are the best balanced midfield in Europe. And now I can hear you all laughing now. You're probably choking because you can't believe I've just said that. But I was genuinely saying that at the time. And I think Lingard, Rashford and Martial were a really exciting front three. So we've not dreamt it. We're not talking about potential. That actually did happen. Unfortunately, what's happening at the moment, we're not dreaming. It's total and utter crap. So we have had glimpses of what can happen with this team. And we can get back to that. And the longer period was the good period. Unfortunately, at the moment, we're in a bad period. So we can get back there with some of these players. But I agree with what Paul was saying earlier, and I've sort of hinted at it a few times, but I don't want to talk about it too much, because it's right that the focus is on the players, because their lack of attitude and laziness is disgusting. But, as I said, tactically we've lost our way as well, and Ollie's lost his way. He's moved away from a 4-3-3 where we can move the ball out from back to front quite quickly, to a team that can't move the ball out from back to front and is slow. And that is problematic, because you've got Lukaku who can't hold the ball up, you've got Matic who is a donkey, and you've got the Chuckle brothers who can't pass the ball, and then you've got Ashley Young at right back. That's half your team that's inept. So we do need to get back to Lindelof and, it's going to have to be Smalling till the summer. We need proper fullbacks. We've missed Luke Shaw. We've been terrible at the back without Luke Shaw. We've had no impetus or ability to push the attack of the opposition back. I think Herrera has been massively missed by Pogba. I think Fred's been a positive, but will they drop Matic? I don't know. He needs to be taken out of the team, because if Matic is playing next year, we're going to struggle as well. And then unfortunately, we've had this Rashford, Lingard, Martial thing where all three of them, which is ridiculous, have been playing absolutely terrible. So, there's a few contributors to why we're doing badly at the moment. Rashford works for KFC now, says Mr. Smooth. Too many bad apples in the squad, says Joe Anderson. Well, I don't have an answer to that, Joe. And I think we all have our concerns, and we all have our suspicions. Gary Neville's a very interesting guy to listen to. Gary Neville always seems to be very pro the local lads, very pro the English lads, but even he has been quite open about Rashford being poor recently, which is interesting. I think Gary Neville always hints strongly that Paul Pogba is a very negative influence at Manchester United. That could be because he doesn't like Paul Pogba, or it could be because he knows something about that dressing room. I don't know. I don't have the answer. If I did, I would tell you. We can all have our superstitions. But what I would say is that we all know if you drop Roy Keane into that dressing room, if you drop Brian Robson into that dressing room, if you drop Gary Neville into that dressing room, or Paul Scholes, or Ryan Giggs, or Vidic, or some of the other leaders we'd have, that team attitude would change overnight. So something in that dressing room's wrong. And I think this is only a theory, and I've got theories on what's going to happen in Game of Thrones, and I'm probably wrong, and I'm going to give you a theory now on what I think's going on in Manchester United's dressing room. I think it's party time instead of business time. I think there's too many people who love being a footballer, which is fine. They love to get the phones out, they love to have a crack, they love to have a dance, they love all that. Great. That's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant, but there's a time and place for that. There is a time and place for that. When I used to work in the office in Dublin, we all liked a few pints and a dance, but that was done after 5 o'clock. 9 till 5, all right, you were hungover sometimes, but it was work, it was business time. And I think that's the problem with United. From an outsider looking in, I think the attitude is wrong. I think there's too many people who are just loving life, and there's nothing wrong with that. But this is professional football. This is professional sport. Do you think the Australian rugby team is all in the dressing room just loving life, taking selfies? No, they're not. And that's just rugby, but you can use any sport. I don't think Man City are doing it because it's work, it's professional. Do you think Liverpool are doing it, trying to win their first league title in 30 years? Do you think they're taking selfies and having a dance? No, they'll keep that back till they've won that title. Whereas I think at United, there's too many personalities that like the clothesline, that like the media, that like this, that and the other. It's all right to have one or two, but I think that's the influence in the dressing room. I think everybody's having fun time, and I don't think we have any leaders in there to sort of grab the phone, flush it down the toilet, or ram it up someone's arse, or pin them up against the wall and say, "What the friggin' hell are you doing?" That's what we miss. That's what I mean. You imagine Virgil van Dijk when things are going wrong. He's a bloody man mountain, and he leads that team. Do you think anyone's going to piss about doing a dance in that dressing room? I envy that. I envy that sort of togetherness and professionalism, and I think that's where United are going wrong. But that's only my opinion. I might be totally wrong with that, but I think the influences in the dressing room at Manchester United are not the right sort of influences. Nick P says we have 4 players who then, when surrounded by quality, would flourish. Pogba, Martial, Lindelof and Shaw. The rest just don't cut it in a league title push. I agree with you there, Nick P, and I think that De Gea as well. I think we've got 4 or 5 players that need better players around them. Look, Martial is not going to be a player that can grab a team on his own. It's arguable that people like Hazard actually can. You could say that somebody like Sterling's done it well this year. Son at Spurs. They're players that can deliver when the team's playing badly. I don't think Martial can do that. I don't think Martial can deliver unless he's got better players around him, and then I think he becomes a better player. I think Luke Shaw is a very, very good left back, but obviously a left back's never going to win you a title. Pogba, I've said it so many times, needs better players around him to get a better Pogba, and Lindelof needs a domineering Koulibaly style centre-back next to him, and I think he can come more into his own. So we have got 3 or 4 players, but we also need to improve. We need to improve, and Ollie will know that as well. I think it's just about whether the board want to do it. Samuel says that Rashford's form has changed due to his bad attitude nowadays. Again, I don't know, but Rashford's young and his best mate's Lingard. Lingard is a party boy, isn't he? He likes the dabbing, he likes the dancing, he likes to be happy, he likes to do silly voices. Nothing wrong with it, but I think Lingard and Pogba and Bailly and Rashford, if they are like that, they could do with a Roy Keane in the dressing room who says, look, there's a time and place for that, and it's not in this dressing room. Get your act together, start wearing the shirt and stop pissing about. And I think that's what United need. I'm not criticising dancing or anything like that. Great, it's all good. But I think it's become the most influential thing in the dressing room when you look at the big, experienced players in that squad. Lingard's 27, Pogba's a World Cup winner in his mid-20s, and you look at what they're like and they're fun time people. Nothing wrong with that, but I think in professional sport you need winners, and I think that's where United are lacking at the moment, and I think that's what Ollie's up against, and how he changes that I don't know, because the problem that you've got as well is whoever comes into that club, Pogba's always going to be the biggest star, so everybody falls into line with Pogba, and if Pogba isn't if Pogba's personality isn't one where it's pissing, let's get down to it, that's not acceptable, it's more about, well, come on, let's relax into it, then that becomes a problem. I mean, it's all hypothetical, isn't it? But I think you can see what the problem at Manchester United is, and I think it's a lack of leaders, and I think there's too many people having an easy ride because they're not leaders themselves. I feel sorry for them in a way. I think that actually you stick a couple of real tough leaders in that squad and everyone else would respond. You see Martial and Rashford and Lingard with their head down and Pogba with their head down on the pitch, whether it's Everton or not, and you stick... I don't know. It's hard in the modern game because I don't watch loads and loads of other teams, but you stick a Roy Keane type in the midfield and he goes up to Lingard and says, get your fucking act together, this is Manchester United, and gives him a shove. Well, maybe Lingard cries and has to get subbed, or maybe he goes, bloody hell, that is the jolt I need. And he's grabbing Martial in his ear and he's saying, get your bloody act together. Come on. This is Manchester United. This game's not lost. Stop bottling it and fight. And I think that's what United miss on that pitch. I mean, I saw Ashley Young doing it in the second half against Everton, and he's like, come on, everybody. But everyone's looking back at him going, you know what? I like the sentiment, Ashley, but you're shit. How can you inspire us when you're shit? That's the problem. You need a player that's good, who is also aggressive and a leader. And I think this is where United is struggling at the moment. Vicky189, Mark, do you think that United players suffer from getting such massive status too soon without having to work hard and hence don't understand the magnitude? You're right, Vicky. I mentioned this the other day. We're paying Romelu Lukaku 250 grand a week. Why? He used to play for Everton. This should have been a step up to prove yourself. It shouldn't have been come to Manchester United and we'll pay you more than Aguero. What's the incentive for Lukaku? I've scored a load of goals for Everton. I'm now paid more than most of the players that play for Liverpool and Man City. I've made it. What's my inspiration? And I think United, as we've said before, the contracts that we give out are just laughable. And you have to say that, I've never said this before, and it's a shame to say it towards the end of the video, but I've never said this before, but how does that indicate how far we've fallen? Because I'm sure there was a time where United were after players and the agent comes along and says, we want 200 grand a week. Yeah, we're Manchester United. I can't guarantee he's going to start. We really, really like him. 150 grand a week. And the player goes, I want to play for United. I'll do it for 150 grand a week. Whereas now, we're saying to that agent, 250 then. We're overpaying for players because they don't want to come here. We're having to overpay to get them here. And I think that's a bad thing to do. It's bad business. We certainly did it with Sanchez, way overpaid. And maybe we did it with Lukaku as well, and maybe we did it with Pogba, and maybe we did it with Zlatan, and maybe we did it with a load of other players. But that's a worrying theme, isn't it? That we are overpaying on wages to get people to come to the club. I personally would rather not overpay. If they don't want to come, it's the wrong message straight away. I'll come if you overpay me. That's the only way I'm going to sign for you is if you give me ridiculous wages. Okay, we'll do it. I'm coming. Well, they're not coming with a hungry attitude, are they? They're coming to a club that they don't really want to be at, but they're coming because they're getting paid loads of money. I would rather not do that. I would rather go for the player that's a little bit cheaper, who's got something to improve and wants to come to Manchester United. And I think that's where we're getting it wrong. I do. Thoughts on Greenwood tomorrow, says Adam Russell. I wouldn't be surprised if Green was involved tomorrow, but I don't think he should be because it's a massive, massive game. And I think that the players have got us into this mess, should be getting us out of it. Phil says take calls. Phil, you should have been here on time. Right, we need to sort something out with Discord, and we are going to sort it out, and we're going to keep trying until it works. But the link is in the video description for it. There's an invite link to Discord. What I suggest you do is get on the invite link, get into the calling queues, start talking to everybody and understanding how it works. And then on the next show, when I start pulling people in, make sure that you're listening to the Discord thing and not just the video. Because when I say hello, you're on air, I can't wait 30 seconds for you because you're listening to the show as well. You need to have two separate things going on. So it works both ways. Also, we need to sort something out with the live queues because I can't pull enough people in. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Massive day tomorrow. Manchester Derby Day will be live an hour before kick-off with the team news all the way through. We've got fan cams afterwards. It's going to be a very, very interesting day for Manchester United tomorrow. Liverpool could be almost title winners. Man City could be almost title winners. We could be out the top four race. We could be in the top four race. It's going to be a big day. Thanks everyone for watching. Please do smash a like on the video. Let's see if we can get 1,000 likes before we're done. Really, really enjoyed the show. Great to get the Discord back. I know there was a few teething problems, but we don't give up on teething problems on this channel. We'll keep going and we'll get it better and better and better. If you want to get United Stand merchandise, the link's in the video description. Also, if you want to become a member, join. We've got a couple of new emojis coming for you for tomorrow night's game. Pampers FC and Jelly Babies. So let's hope we don't use them, but there you go. Thanks for watching. Speak to you all soon.